Since we're talking about Black women's health, I also want to remind you to check your chest. And the reason why this is ridiculously important to me is if you go and look up the mortality rates for Black women in childbirth and the mortality rates when it comes to Black women and breast cancer, even though we're typically not the population that develops it in high numbers, we die at a higher rate because of how much more aggressive the cancer can be, and that can be from a myriad of things. Now, I have posted multiple videos on my page discussing how I have fibrocystic breasts. I get mammograms, I get ultrasounds, and because my appointment is coming up, I think at the end of the month, I want to remind you of a couple of things. One is do your self-breast checks. So because it's that important to me, I keep a pamphlet in my bathroom, in my shower, that goes over how to conduct a self-breast exam. The other thing that I want to point out is when you go to the GYN, your primary care visit, or any type of healthcare visit, and they're doing some type of examination, if you are unsure how to do a self-breast check, ask them. Even though I'm pretty comfortable and confident doing mine, I still have the medical provider just go through it with me, and I have them watch me. Sounds weird, but I have them watch me do it to make sure I'm not missing anything. So I will go through and do it first, and then I have them come in behind me. And then if there are any spots that I either have concern about or my provider has concern about, we palpate it together. And that gives me an idea of how, when I come back home, I can check it myself. We also talk about, the direction in terms of where the cysts that we can feel are, so that when I do get my mammogram or my ultrasound, I can have a conversation with the radiologist about these particular spots, and I know what questions to ask and what to think about. Now, this is another one of my follow-up visits, and at this particular mammogram, I'm also going to ask about getting an MRI and if I should do that in another 6 months or if I should wait until I turn 40 and have all three MRI, mammogram, ultrasound done at the same time. Now, I have been getting these checkups often, and you might be wondering, Ebony, why are you doing this? Aren't you subjecting yourself to radiation, blah, 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 blah? Have you not seen what they do to people that look like me in this world, in this country? Right. So for me, it's important to have that record of tracking my breast health, my body in general, but that's really important to me. And when I also had that visit, my provider and I talked about a lot of things. And one of the other issues that I can speak for myself and say is when I asked my mother about whether or not breast cancer runs in our family, she was like, oh, my great grandmother had breast cancer. The problem, however, is, she said, but it spread. I said, okay, pause for a minute. Was it breast cancer and it spread, or was it another cancer that spread to her breasts? I didn't get that answer. And fortunately or unfortunately, which this has helped my family quite a bit, is I am usually, in my friend group, I am usually the historian. So I am taking data. I look at the analytics. I look at the data for everything. That's also a part of my job as well. So I'm always trying to pull information. I'm constantly polling my family, like, what is this? When did you notice this? Has this always happened? Has this always been something that's common in our family? Even down to our teeth. I have soft teeth enamel. I'm trying to ask folks, open your mouth. Let me see your teeth. Say cheese. Cheese. So it's just a lot of things that I have to carry and take on because no one else is doing that work. And it's exhausting. I would be lying to you if I said it wasn't. And I'm currently going through this with my mom too, because it's like every time I look around, there's something else wrong. And I have to be the one to manage that. My brother honestly has no clue what's really and truly going on with her. And I have been looking up, I think it's filial laws here where I am, because should whatever they got going on with these laws affect her, I have to make adjustments to my lifestyle to make sure that my mother is taken care of. So I think that is why I'm also constantly saying to people, look at the laws, look at the policy. What does the policy say? What does their current health insurance look like? Do they have Medicare? Do they have Medicaid? Do they have life insurance? Look at your advance directives and your living will. Like, with everything going on with Adriana, I'm looking at every single one of those things. I just redid my living will and advanced care directives because I froze my eggs, and now I have to reevaluate that. And I also have to do the same thing with my mom. So I can talk about her on a different day, but in many instances, the healthcare system fails her too. And there are so many Black women that just keep getting the runaround. They're not being listened to. They're not being seen. They're not being heard in their various appointments. And unfortunately, my mother is also a victim of that very system. So I really don't have a lot of patience when people say not everything is about race, when our country was literally built on, and my ancestors built the country that we know of today. People's wealth has been built on the backs of my ancestors. I've looked at the records and the documentation of the slaves in my family. Like I've been connected to a whole bunch of folks that don't look like me. That's real blonde hair, blue-eyed. And it's very interesting seeing how they wrote about that in said documents as well. There are people, my ancestors, who are nameless right now. And today, I am going to take a long time to honor them. So, with that being said, the final thing that I'll say about your mammograms and checking your chest, because everybody can get breast cancer, everybody can find a lump in their breast, everybody can have cysts, there are so many conditions that would make those types of things occur and present and insert all the things. But if you do need to get a mammogram and an ultrasound, make sure that when you schedule it, that you schedule the two together. Do not get a mammogram just by itself or an ultrasound by itself. If you have time to do it, go for it. But if you are short on time and you know that is something that causes a lot of anxiety for you, I highly recommend to ask if you could just do the two together, and also try to get the earliest appointment. Okay, great. Bye.